Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is go ahead and do some current events. So I'm going to turn it over to Jessica. So go ahead.
So first, I wanted to talk about two current events that went out in our current event email last week. The first one, this was a viral video that was going around. A church had a basketball game on its property, and a referee made a call, and the parents and members of the team were upset and started attacking the referee. And so I put that in the current event. More so just to talk about how you should still consider having either safety team on campus or some sort of protection going on during sports games as well, because it's not just outside people that might cause problems, but the people that are actually there. And so we put that in the current events. And then also there was a church in Iowa that had a church bell, and their bell was actually stolen. So a lot of the times we talk about smaller things being stolen, like signs or flags and stuff like that, but also some of your bigger stuff can get stolen too. And then some current events that were from this week. So these will go out this Sunday in our current events email. Another church in Iowa, actually in Cedar Rapids, Veritas Church in downtown Cedar Rapids, they came out saying that there was a shooting that happened nearby. And so this is just an extra reminder that if you are in an area that you know that there is heavy crime, you need to be prepared for things like this. And also you need to be aware if the neighborhood that you're in is high crime or high for shootings. We talked a lot about bullet holes being found in churches, shootings happening in churches. There was just an incident where on a Wednesday night at around 7, I think it was, there was some sort of argument between 3 juveniles, and somebody got shot in a church parking lot while people were inside. And so police were called. But again, just know where your area is. And then also in that instance, cameras would have been helpful. Lighting in the parking lot would have been helpful. I think that they said that the altercation happened behind the church dumpster. So if you have blind spots in your parking lot, you need to be aware of them. Also on the current events email on Sunday, there was a church in Las Vegas that had a man come in wielding a knife, and he said that he was upset at a member of the church leadership. There hasn't been much that has come out about this. The church is not really talking to people about it. All that we know is that church members were able to get the man to come outside, and then police were called and arrested the man. And then this just goes back to there was another instance where there was a man who went public about asking for prayers and then also threatened multiple churches in his area. This is a different current event. Police found him and none of the threats were credible. But if there is somebody that you know that is mad at your church or mad at a church member, make sure that you tell your safety team about them, especially as Easter is coming up. You don't want to take threats not seriously. And so just a reminder to be aware of that. Speaking of just kind of being aware of people being mad at church members, there was just something happened in the UK where a man faked having terminal cancer and conned a church-going man. That's all that was said, but conned him out of £500,000. The case is still ongoing, but they said that he faked MRIs, fake doctor's notes, and so just be aware of people that might go to extra lengths to not only con church members, but also churches out of money, especially during holidays. You just want to be aware of that and just be aware of what's going on in your congregation as well. And so that's what we have for current events. And again, we send these emails out every Sunday, and all of these events will be in them. Or if you want any of them specifically, you can just email me and I can send them to you.
All right. Thank you, Jess. All right, we're coming up on, the reason why we are all here together, a lot of people like to talk about Christmas. They like to talk about the birth of Jesus Christ. And yes, that was very important because of multiple, just reason upon reason upon reason, prophecies being fulfilled, all the different things that we look at, that we knew that Jesus Christ was the Emmanuel. But the thing that I always point to is that the reason we are together is because of Christ's sacrifice, his death, and the resurrection that gave us what we have today: eternal life, friendship, all the freedom that we have, but we would have never met if it had not been for his death and resurrection. Let's just be realistic about it. Jesus born of a virgin probably wouldn't have gone anywhere except just to be, I don't want to say like a legend, but just a story from, if we just had that as the Bible and that was it, that he was a good man. But the death and resurrection is what we're all here. I mean, it brought us all together. I probably would have never met half the people that I've met, but because of our love of Christ, our wanting to expand the kingdom of God, and also our need to protect the flock, we have all come together because of this. Now, I want to take you back Sunday, April the 9th in 2017, Palm Sunday. 2 suicide bombers killed over 45 people in 2 churches in northern Egypt. This is really important. This is what I'm going to talk about as far as being prepared for Easter. This has just been on my heart, and I want to put it out here because I think sometimes we run into situations that we're not really thinking this through on certain things. And this is the important thing I want to stress tonight. The St. George Cathedral in Nile Delta, city of Tanta, there was 28 dead and 71 injured. In the St. Mark's Cathedral in Alexandria, there were 16 people killed, injuring 41. What was the difference? What was the difference? Both of these churches were packed during this time frame, but both of these churches were during the worship service when these bombings happened. But what was the difference between the two? The one at St. Mark's Cathedral, they stopped the bomber before he came into the church. They told him that he had to go through a metal detector before they would allow him in the church. A safety team member stopped him at the gate and forced him to go through a metal detector. Once he went through the metal detector and realized that he was setting off alarms, he took a step back and detonated the bomb, killing 16 people outside and around and injuring 41 others. Where the other one in St. George Cathedral in the Nile Delta city of Tanta had gotten inside the church. He had gotten right inside the church with all the worshipers when he detonated the bomb, killing almost twice as many people, injuring almost twice as many people. So the big difference between the two of these is making sure that you have outside perimeter help. I'm going to talk about something I don't have a picture. We're just going to leave this up here. But also just recently, and Larry Booth and I were talking about this, we were sending stuff back and forth. April 4th of this year, 2020, in New Orleans, at one of their churches, they had multiple vehicles that were broken into. Now, when we used to talk about vehicles being broken into in Bel Air, the thing of it is 90% of them, well, really more than that, 98% of them were left unlocked. It was very rare to have vehicles with their glass broken out because it made the noise. It made noise. It alerted people to outside interference or outside breaking into their vehicles. But when I went and looked at this article where this church was, I saw that all these vehicles, this was daytime, and all these vehicles, the windows were knocked out by force, which told me this person was making noise while they walked through this parking lot, yet nobody saw them. They did not discover it until they came outside to go back to their cars when they saw it. My first question right off the bat is, where's your outside perimeter? Where are the people outside that are watching your parking lot because of things like this? How bold is that to walk through a parking lot and knock out windows in vehicles to steal stuff out of cars? I mean, you're making noise. It's not like it's going to be quiet. They were making noise. When you look at the article, you can see the different pictures. I mean, not only did they knock some of them out, they like tore the window completely out of the car, and the window was laying on the ground. So where is your outside perimeter watching? So just to kind of show you one of the things that we do with our church is these are the positions that we have in our church. Now, this is with a full crew. This is when we really got everybody. And of course, we're kind of making this all hands on deck type thing for Easter. We know that we're going to have people that are going to be coming to the church. Our creasters are going to be coming, those that come for Christmas and those that come for Easter. Only 2 times a year. We know our church buildings are going to be packed. We know that we're going to have people in there. So with this, we're going to change our positions a little bit, and we're going to make sure that we have an R1, a Rover 1, and a Rover 2 that are going to be standing at the different exits outside in the parking lot, watching people as they're coming through. When you go back and look at the video of the church bombing where the guy was stopped outside, you could literally see the bombing vest on him. I mean, the safety guy that stopped him probably wasn't paying attention, but he pointed to the guy that told him to go back over through the metal detector. He could not come through. But as soon as he turned, you could see the outline of the vest underneath his shirt. It was so obvious. I looked at it again, and then I slowed it down a little bit and looked at it. And in the front, he looked like almost like a turtle. He had this vest on underneath his other shirt, which pushed it out. And there was this huge gap around his neck to where, like I said, it almost like he could pull it inside. So we have to make sure that we have people on the outside that are watching those that are coming into church. Now, we train about this. We talk about this. Those that would hide in plain sight. If you put a person outside, and listen, I'm sorry if people get upset because you've got your safety team standing outside with their radio on, but they should be greeting people with a smile. And at the same time, doing that profiling that we teach about, being able to look at this person to see if there's anything unusual, the anomaly. What is it that makes this person, makes our sixth sense go off, our spidey sense go off, that we say, wait a minute, something's not right with this guy. They should not get inside your church without your safety team members welcoming them. They should walk over and shake their hands when they come up. We're going to do this. Now, you can't do it with everybody because we know that there's going to be a large crowd of people. But one of the things that we're trying to instill in you is to get out and start looking at those coming in. Anything that looks unusual, you need to be ready to alert others and get help on the way. We talk about hiding in plain sight. People that are there for Easter service and are excited about it, wearing their best clothes, all these different things like this, are going to look at your man standing outside or your lady standing outside, and they're going to smile and they're going to be excited about coming in. Why? This is the time that they only come to church, that one time. So they're going to be coming in excited about it. We know what it's all about. We're excited about it because we get to worship. But we're going to see these that are coming, that only come this time of year, that are still kind of excited about me. They remember about the Easter. Pay attention to who's coming in. There's going to be a lot of faces you will not recognize. You need to make sure that you make eye contact with these people. You need to get that smile out there. Hopefully they will give you a smile back, and you kind of already start to know that, like I said, they're not hiding in plain view. Somebody that tries to avoid you, somebody that tries to avoid eye contact, make sure you go over and talk to that person or notify somebody as they're coming in the door, so that, like where you see our situation right here, let me go back. In this area right here where we're talking about G1 and G2, where we're at the doors, watching the doors, will be the second one. Your rovers outside should notify people coming in, hey, you may want to take a look at this guy. See if somebody can go up and talk to this guy or this lady. We need to make sure that we're checking out everybody that comes in. Now, that might feel strange, and that might feel one of these things that people feel uncomfortable about, but I'm telling you, every attack we're seeing right now is starting from the outside. I can't stress this enough. The shooting that happened at the church where the estranged father shot and killed his 3 kids, it was a rifle that he brought into the church. There had to be some telltale sign that he was bringing a rifle inside the church before he did it. So if somebody outside would have seen it, maybe we could have stopped it. But these are type of issues that we need to be paying attention to. This incident that happened down in at Colonial Baptist, where the woman came in with a robe on, she had normal clothes on, but she had a bathrobe on. That would be a clue, folks. That would be telling me that something's not right. Watch the dress, watch what's coming on, watch and see if they'll look at you, make eye contact, say hello to them, get a conversation started if you don't know them, but just pay attention to the people that are coming in. Another thing that we don't talk about a lot, and we really need to be focusing on this, is medical emergencies. That is one thing that I think that we constantly forget to talk about, but these are things that can happen on your church property. And think about it just for a second. If you have large crowds and they're crowded together, These are the type of things where people get overheated, dizziness, all these things that can happen in a church, a heart attack, all this stuff. You need to be also prepared for the medical emergencies. Where are your medical kits? Do you have an AED? Where is it located? Make sure that you know where these items are. Make sure you know where your fire extinguishers are in case there happens to be a fire. But we need to make sure that the only thing that we're not looking for is a threat, but we're also looking and paying attention to small things like medical emergencies. Several years ago, on an Easter Sunday, a lady coming into the church tripped over carpet, went down, sprained her knee. I mean, she was down for the count, and we had to get a wheelchair and help her get back to her car. And her husband took her to the hospital. But these are the things that can happen. There's going to be crowds. There's going to be a lot of people. So we just have to be ready for whatever may come our way. And that just doesn't include how we have, watching for that active shooter, or watching for the deranged person, or watching for the wolf. Medical emergencies are also going to be something that we need to be really paying attention to. We don't get any reports on medical emergencies that happen in church, but I can tell you we probably have more. I know we have more of them than we have anything else. So one of the other things I would recommend is, if you do not have what we call a dispatch room, we're fortunate, we're blessed. We have a room where we have 2 people that sit in that have radios that are listening to us at all times, that can pick up the phone and dial 911. You should have a landline somewhere. If it's in your, if you have a sound booth, you could put a hardline telephone there, to where in case something happens, instead of trying to remember, listen, when it gets going south, sometimes it's hard to remember what your location is. What is the address? I was typing a report the other day of something that we had happen at our church, and I dyslexic threw the numbers backwards. These things can happen. So with a direct line, a 911 line, you really kind of take that mistake out of it, because as soon as you dial it, they have your address on the screen. Something else that we're seeing so much right now, mental illness is just, I can't say it. I don't want to say, I can't say it enough. We are seeing more and more mental illness cases inside the church. We are seeing people that are coming in that are having so many issues. There's so much going on in this world right now. There's so much confusion. There's so much hate. There's just all these different things that are going on, that we really need to be paying attention to those that are having issues. We're dealing with a person right now at our church that will not stop posting things about us in Facebook. We had to trespass him, and it just fired it off again. And to me, all it is a mental illness issue that we don't know how to handle it, but we have to make sure that we are aware of where he is at all times. Believe it or not, he gives us enough clues on it. It's almost strange that we have to keep tabs of where he's at, because every time he walks into a church, he takes a selfie of himself at that church and he posts that he's at that church. So while we're going on and having church services, we got to know where this guy is, because he could show up and cause us some issues. So since we've talked about mental illness not too long ago, we've seen multiple cases at local churches going on here. So please pay attention. Make sure your team is ready. Pray for your team. Pray over your team. This is just one of the greatest times of the year. This is such an honor to be able to be serving at my church on this day, the gift, the Lord that gave us the gift of eternal life, of continual companionship with each other for the rest of for eternity. I joke and I kid around about this. Y'all are stuck with me. Every time I get to meet somebody, it is not just that moment that I get to meet and talk to you. It is for eternity. So just get used to it. You're going to have me around for a long time. So I know I kind of rushed through that. I wanted to get through, because if there's any questions or anything anybody wants to talk about, I want to open it up. So Jess, what do we got?
I am not seeing anything right now. So if anybody wants to speak, we have the Q&A, and then we also have the chat option.
We also have a computer that has a mind of its own. I have a brand new computer, so it does have a mind of its own.
So we do have something. Tim Hollyman said, any updates on Main Street, BC?
We're going to talk about that in a second. But thanks.
I'm not seeing anything else, but again, if anybody has anything, I'll be watching the chat and the Q&A section if anybody needs to ask a question.
I just wanted to say I see some new people out there. Wilbur, it's good to see you out there. Welcome. We're going to be doing some traveling. We're going to be up Wilbur's Way here, not this weekend, but next week. And we're going up to Missouri. And we're really excited about that. We're going to be talking about some local things that we're doing here in a minute. But any other questions, any other statements, any other?
Yeah, so we got a couple now.
Okay.
So first, Juan Robinson asked, how do you control firearms at church?
Who asked that question?
Juan Robinson.
All right. Juan, I'm going to allow you to talk. So explain to me what you're talking about. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, good evening.
Good
in
evening.
regards to that, I guess my thing is in Kentucky, the carry concealed license are common practice. So it seems like every other person over the age of 18 has their carry concealed license. How do you regulate that in regards to this? Or how do you even attempt to regulate that as far as a setting like this?
Well, and that's an excellent question. And we talk about that all the time. I mean, down here in Florida, everybody has a concealed weapons, a firearm. I mean, everybody does. So one of the things that we try to do as a safety team is that we tell people in our church, and we have a large church, and if we find out somebody is armed, we will go to them and say, listen, we're not going to tell you not to carry your weapon. But what you have to understand is that our safety team members, there are several of us that are armed. And if we were to have a situation to where we would have to challenge somebody that is armed also, please do not pull your weapon, because at that point in time, you become a target, because not everybody knows you. And we want you to understand that we're not going to tell you not to, but we really would appreciate you not pulling it. We just seen here recently where some innocent people who went to assist, like one guy took a gun away from somebody. One guy went up and helped a police officer but getting shot. So they really need, and we could talk about that in a whole we could talk about that all night long, that we just have to make sure that if you are armed, please do not. And I will tell you this, we go up to people all the time when we find out they're armed. Our church is not going to tell them not to carry, but we're just going to advise them that for their safety, their family's safety. Think about it. If they're standing right next to their family and all of a sudden we see them pull a gun out and we don't know them, they're probably going to get shot or shot at, and their family's standing right there. So it's very important that they understand the rules, especially if you have a safety team. If you have a safety team in your church, you need to let your church members know this. They need to be aware that there are people inside your church that are going to handle the emergencies. Now, does that mean we might not use some of those that are inside the church? Yes, but most of the time it would be to herd a disruptive attendee out or something like that, but not really to pull their weapon. So that's, like I said, we have it happen all the time. I talked to somebody just here recently that we found out that he was carrying, and in fact, he even came to me and said, I just wanted to let you know, because he knows my position. He says, I do carry my weapon on me. And I said, don't ever pull it out here in the church. I said, unless the bad guy is just standing over you and is pointing a weapon at you, and you feel like that's the only way to survive, and you're kind of down on the ground, then do it. But other than that, if you pull the weapon, and I'm talking to this person that I know very well, but I kind of guarantee that half my team doesn't know him. So for him to pull that weapon, it would just be detrimental. I hope that helps. I mean, there's not really a good answer to that. The best answer out there is that your church tells your congregation that you have a safety team and they are prepared for these situations, and let them do it unless you're called upon.
So we have a couple more questions and also a couple comments. First, Billy Williams asked how many are normal on duty.
Well, I mean, I have a church, I go to a church that has over 2,500 members. So we have two services on Sunday normally. This Sunday, we're going to have 4 services. I've asked all the team members to be there, and when I'm lucky, I probably have, I want to say 12 when everybody is there. And that includes medical. Now, see, I include medical in my safety team. I want them to work with us when we're doing our work, because I need them to know exactly what we would be doing. I need my safety team to know exactly what they should be doing when the medical team. Let me go back a couple of slides and I'm going to show you how many I have. Let me just go back, because right here are my positions. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is when everybody is there. And usually I have a couple of more that show up. So I would say around 12, but 10 is what I really need to cover all the positions that I have inside the church. So hopefully that answers your question, but I have a large church and it's a large campus. We have 29 acres on our campus. So there's a lot of area to cover. And with my R1, my rovers that I'm showing here, I have a golf cart and I want them out there driving around to make sure that they're looking for anything that might happen out in the parking lot. That is your true first line of defense. I can't stress that enough. This thing that happened in Egypt, like I said, if it had not been for the guy to stop the guy out front and say, you have to go through the metal detector, he would have got inside the worship center, and it was very crowded that day. We have to have them out there. So that's how many I have positions that I have. And like I said, most of the time I do have that many there.
So first, Ed Kern said those that may have the Philips AED, they are having pad issues that will likely be in a recall. Current procedures are to use what you have until further guidance comes out. So that's just something to be aware of. Tim Hollyman asked, is anyone else seeing a drop in interest about church safety issues? And then Dave Johnson said, probably because you have not heard about a mass killing event in a church in a while. People get complacent. And then Tim agreed. My sense is that the new has worn off and it's back to status quo. So that's just some chat that's been going in the chat. And then one last thing, Trina asked if you would be able to talk more about the guy you're tracking. She says that she believes that she knows him.
Get it with me offline, and I'll, I can tell you. His name is Rob Vollmar, Vollmar. He's really well known in the Pasco area. I don't know that he's over in your area, but did that help any, Trina?
I can send her a follow-up email too. Trina said that she knows him.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. If you go to his Facebook page, you can see he did like 5 rants. He got mad at a men's study. I mean, he got really mad at a men's study and just started going out and ranting. And then it just made it to the point to where people were just uncomfortable around him. So I talked to the leadership of the church and just said that because of his actions, people didn't want to come to church. So I kind of have to make a decision whether or not I look out for the members of the church or I just take one person. So we decided to trespass him last night. And of course, it just fired him up. So.
Yeah, Trina just said in the chat that she knows him personally and that she pieced things together by his Facebook page.
Right. Right. Well, he lists the church this time. He lists the church, myself and the pastor of the church. So.
Yeah. And she says that she totally agrees with your decision.
I'm glad somebody does. I never want to do that. That's like the last thing that we want to do, but I just have to protect the flock. I can't let him run the way that he was running. So, all right, we're going to go through some quick commercials, and then it will still be online if you have any more questions. We've got some training coming up. So let's talk about this training. Gosh, this new. All right, everybody hold your breath for a second. Let me see if I can get this done. Okay, Tuesday, April 26th from 7:00 p.m. to 9:00 p.m. We're going to be at Hernando County. We're going to do a church safety and security meeting. For more information on all these, because I didn't get all the information out here, for more information on these, please go to our trainingsecurityallies.com page. All right. If I lose you, hopefully I don't lose you. It just said my internet was unstable. I think it was talking about me though, not the internet. Anyway, for more information on these, go out to our webpage at trainingsecurityallies.com. Jess, can you still hear me?
Yes, you're still good.
Okay.
You cut out for a second, but you're back.
Okay. Saturday, May the 7th, 9:00 a.m. to 12:00 p.m. We're going to be at Scott Lake Baptist Church. It's a church safety and security training. I wanted to say something on this one. Tim, we got to
It
get.
looks like he's frozen, so I can just take over for the current or the upcoming events. Wendy Howard posted in the chat, we're going to be at Christian Outreach Church in Hillsborough, Missouri, this month on the 23rd. We're really excited about that. We have a Hernando County Church Safety and Security meeting on Tuesday, April 26th. Dad, are you back?
I don't know. Can you hear me? I'm hearing you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Take over from Scott Lake Baptist Church.
Scott Lake Baptist Church is really important. This is a love offering church. This is a love offering. We're going to be asking for it, but everything that we're going to be doing here for this love offering, everything that we're raising for this is going to go to Main Street Baptist Church. Now, for those of you who don't know what happened at Main Street Baptist Church, mental illness. They had a lady come and set the church on fire. It destroyed the sanctuary, the worship center. They are still meeting there, but when we go to this right here, we're going to be raising money for Main Street Baptist Church over there in Polk County. So come on out. Tuesday, June 7th, Vine Life Christian Church, from 7:00 p.m. to 9:00. This is a church safety and security training again. Saturday, June the 11th, from 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. We're going to be at New Day Christian Church down in Port Charlotte. Like I said, for more information, go out to our webpage. I just didn't have enough time to get all this together for you. We are going to be in Missouri. We're going to be in Kentucky. We're going to be in Virginia. There's a few other places that we're going to be in. So please go out to our website. You can see all these events that we have coming up. God is really good. God has been great to us. I'll tell you one of the reasons why. We have partnered with USCCA. They are now sponsoring a lot of our events. So this allows us to get more free events out there. Why is it free? People keep coming to me and going, free events mean that there's not a lot of detail to it. Anybody that's on this page, anybody that's been to our training knows that that is not true. The reason why we do a lot of free events, or as free as we possibly can, is because we want to get the information out here. And I'm going to tell you right now, I would compare our training, and I don't mean this as a brag. God is good to us, and God has given me the tools to do these things. So he's going to use me. We do these free events so that we can get people out here and help them, because it's just unrealistic when these companies come in and want to charge a lot of money and then only 2 people can come or 1 person can come. We want your whole safety team to come. We want everybody to come. So this is why we try to do these free events. Now, there's a lot of members that support this ministry. USCCA, even though they do support us, they don't pay for everything. So there's a lot of y'all that have memberships, and we don't want to take away from that. That guarantees you training. These others, we have to make sure that there's people at these trainings before we can come. So understand there's 2 different things that we're working on right now. Membership has kept us alive for the last since 2015. Memberships have kept us alive. We still need that to continue. So I don't want it to sound like, we're just being able to get to more churches. And so we want to put on these events and help people out. Winnie's probably going to kick me later, so just understand. All right, there's a lot of free resources out there. You can go to our webpage. You can pull down these PDFs, putting together a safety plan, developing a safety team, carrying weapons in the church, and Sunday morning what to look for. This will give you an idea of what to kind of put together as a safety team. This kind of wanted to go back. We talked a little bit, about weapons. This is it right here. We talk about it a little bit more in detail in the carrying weapons in church, and you're more than happy to go out and pull that down. If you have not got it, I tell you, I'm going to say it again. It's all God. Look for my book on our webpage, God's Unseen Plan. It talks about my life, of how I got to where I'm at right now. It's full circle, where at 16 years old, my father stepped outside of a church service and shot and killed the deacon right in the parking lot. So this is just my life. It talks about my walk of walking away from God, only to find out later on that he had never left me. And I found the perfection I was looking for, because I always strive for perfection in everything I did. But the only way I could find perfection was through God's perfect grace. So go out. You can find it on our webpage or godsunseenplan.com. I would appreciate if you don't buy it off Amazon. We really, they don't help us out at all. But anyway, on Thursdays, I do a kind of a webinar, a video podcast, whatever you want to call it, with a pastor from a local church here, Kevin Haggerty. And we talk about issues that are facing the Christian world today. We talked about today we talked about the transgender issue that they're trying to push on our kindergarten students through third grade. This is just bizarre to me. I do not understand it, but we talked about it today. We are now on Rumble. So all it is rumble.com/True Christian Talk, all one word, and you'll find our webpage. We're also on YouTube. You can go and look at YouTube, our previous ones, but we had to be really careful about what we were talking about on YouTube, because they gave us a strike on talking about one issue. And then we got another strike, and they were telling us third strike, and we were out, and we just said, you know what, it's time to go. So we're now on Rumble. So it's rumble.com/True Christian Talk, all one word. We'll get you more information out there, because we tried it out today. It went really well. We're really excited about it. So Jessica, anything else?
No, just Mom was typing in the chat some other events that we're having. And like Dad said, they're all on our website, trinitysecurityallies.com. And then also in the follow-up email and in the current events email, I normally send out all of our upcoming events. So I'll get those out to everybody in email form as well.
Well, listen, I appreciate you coming out. I don't like to keep you over. The longest is maybe 45 minutes, and we're approaching that right now. I really do appreciate y'all coming out. If you have any other questions, you do have my email address. It's jim@trinitysecurityallies.com. You can find it on the webpage. Please, please, please just reach out. You have any questions at all. I will promise to return a response within 24 hours. It's just that we're really busy right now. God is good. And of course, Easter's coming up. So we have to be ready. We have to be prepared. So if there's nothing else, this is recorded. We're going to put it out tomorrow. Of course, Easter's right around the corner, I know, but this is still good material. Whether it's Easter or not, when I talked to my safety team, and of course, when my pastor came to me and he said, what are you doing special for Easter? I said the same thing that we do every Sunday. We watch for possible threats, and we protect the flock, and we work toward the expansion of the kingdom of God. So I said, we're really not doing anything different. Of course, do we as safety team leaders look at it a little bit different? Sure we do. There's more people coming to our campuses. there's a lot of unknowns that we don't know. There's a lot of people that we don't know. So yes, we do look at it different, but in actuality, it's the same every Sunday. We should be on our guard at all times, and we should be ready and the watchman on the walls. So just be safe out there. Just keep your eyes open. Always, always, always looking around, and just be blessed. And thank you so much for coming out tonight. And if you have any questions at all, like I said, reach out to us. Jess, anything else?
Nope, nothing else.
Y'all have a great night. Let me know how your Easter goes, and we'll talk soon. Good night.